Can you all hear me?
Sure.
All the candidates, you can hear me? Okay. So we'll start with our introductions. Each of you gets 3 minutes, and we'll start with the chairman. Mr. Baird, you can go first.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight. I'm new to this, so a lot of y'all probably don't know me. So just a little background about me. Born and raised here in Georgia. I actually grew up in Conyers most of my childhood and graduated from Salem High School. A lot of my teachers that I know, they're all out in Morgan County now at the school out there, Mr. Rouser and a bunch of others. But one thing I remember as a kid is, having a great education. Grew up with a single mom who was working for Bell's Health headquarters for many years, and one of her key decisions that she had was, the education for me. And so that's why she chose at the time Conyers in Rockdale County, because they were some of the best schools in the state. And that's where I received my education. Went to Georgia Perimeter, or Georgia State University now, and obtained my associate's degree, and then also graduated from Clayton State University with my bachelor's degree through the Hope Scholarship. Very blessed to have that opportunity here in the state to be able to go to school, get a college education, and have no higher education debt when I graduated. I've worked for Penske Truck Leasing for 18 years, ever since I graduated college. So, I've learned a lot through my growth in my career, getting married, having kids, going through everything in life in the different stages. And for the last 17 years, I've been married to my wife, Michelle, who's a nurse, oncology nurse. But after we started having kids, we started to think about, what do we want for the priority? At the time, we lived over in Newton County. And, when the pandemic hit, I know it affected everybody. We had schools shutting down, virtual classrooms, everything. My oldest son requires an IEP. He's got to have the extra time, got to have the extra help, because that's one of his needs and necessities. My daughter, on the other hand, we can put her anywhere and she'll be fine. But one thing that stood out to us was the Social Circle City Schools. We've always heard great things about it, but we also had in-classroom, and that's one of the things that drew us. So in the last 2.5 years, we sold our home and moved in district to Social Circle because of the school system. And so that's part of the reason why I'm paying attention to what's going on and looking at the direction, and that's why I decided to run, so that way I can help guide while my kids are still in school and for their future and our next generation's future. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Morris?
Thank you so much. First, I want to thank the Chamber for hosting this for us. I think it's so important to vote in local elections. No matter who you vote for, local elections are really what drive our community. National elections are important, but our local elections fill gaps and really lead paths for not just our children, but our city. So I want to thank all of y'all for coming and spending your Monday night here. I have been a resident of Social Circle since 2013. I am married to a lifelong resident. When we got married and had children, the understanding was we had to come home. This was his home. This was the only place he had ever been educated. I grew up in Monroe. I also had a single-parent household. I would not have made it through high school if it wasn't for some teachers that really loved me and encouraged me and built me up. And so when Cody wanted to move here we came, and our children have been here. We have 15 school years between both of our children. They're in 5th and 7th grade. And I can say without a shadow of a doubt, every single year they've had a teacher, a cafeteria worker, a bus worker, a parapro that has put time, energy, and effort more than their job into them. Our staff is so important. Our kids are important, and our staff is important. And what has been built here is amazing. We need a new school. I know that that's been something that has been really contentious, really hot, the selection, the site, where it's going, where it's not going. The truth is our kids and our staff deserve a new school. that decision was made by the board prior to my coming on. I'm happy for it. I'm excited for it. I hope we can continue to move on and grow and do what we need to do for our staff and our students. We are very unique. I heard that come up lots of times in the city council discussion. We're unique, we're different. We need to own and embrace that and figure out what works for us. I have no educational experience or background. I will not profess that I am a teacher. I couldn't teach the little people. I'm glad we have someone to do it. I love them. I have a heart for them, but I couldn't work in education every day. I do have a background in business. I'm a lifelong entrepreneur from about the time I was 19 years old. Cody and I have built many businesses, all here, all grassroots, all in our backyard. Some in our kitchen table too, like John. I think that's an early entrepreneur thing. We do it small at first. We need balanced budgets and we need fiscal responsibility. We have a great staff at the board office that's making that happen. Our school board needs to support that so we can be in a financial position to build schools and take care of our staff and students. My greatest desire is to see the board function well, to support the schools and allow discussion that helps us continue to improve and adapt. We have something special here that needs to be protected. I would love to earn your trust and your vote so I can continue to serve as the board chair. I'm not a politician, but I love our schools, and putting the children first should never be political.
Thank you. District 1 candidates, Ms. Brewer.
I'm Beth Brewer. I'm seeking election for the District 1 school board seat. I know many of you, some of you I recognize from around town, or seeing you at school functions. I look forward to meeting and speaking to all of you. Earlier this year, Michael O'Connor resigned his position on the school board due to his failing health. After much consideration, I decided I would run in this election so that you would have the opportunity to choose the person you believe is most qualified to fill his seat. I want the best education possible for my daughter and all the students of Social Circle. Our school system has achieved this year after year. Currently, Social Circle is ranked number 75 out of 221 school districts in Georgia. Our graduation rate has improved year over year and is currently at 95%, and this has been achieved while spending $1,600 less than the median of other Georgia districts. My goal, if I am elected, will be to work with the other board members to make decisions necessary to continue this trend. As your representative, I would welcome suggestions and concern from all citizens in my district. I would ensure that any concern or recommendation that was brought to my attention was presented to the board for consideration. My primary objective is to do my due diligence to scrutinize every decision and ensure that it is decided in the best interest of every student in our school system. I believe my experience in my current position as office manager of 2 car dealerships has given me the qualifications needed to successfully fulfill the role of school board representative. I assist the controller in the management of millions of dollars in assets and almost 100 employees. When I moved here over 20 years ago, our town was a lot smaller than it is today. Because of the growth of our city, our school system has become overcrowded, and as we all know, the primary and elementary school campuses are outdated and in great need of repair. There's been talk over the last several years that there's going to be a new primary and elementary school, and that is now going to be a reality. They'll be breaking ground on the new campus very soon. I believe it's our responsibility to provide a safe and comfortable environment so that all of our students and staff can thrive and continue to improve so they can become the best school system in the state. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. McKibben?
Thank you. My name is Amber McKibben, and I am currently the District 1 representative for the school board. I applied for the position when Mr. O'Connor resigned due to his health reasons back in March. I was unanimously appointed by the board, and it was an honor to be chosen to fill that seat. It was even sweeter when Mr. O'Connor congratulated me on that. So I was happy to step into the role and take that responsibility. I am a lifelong resident of Social Circle. I graduated from Social Circle High School in 1999. I have a 6-year-old daughter named Caroline who is in the 1st grade at Social Circle Primary School. So it is an honor for me for her to be here and to attend the same schools that I attended, and also that my father and other family members attended. I work for the City of Social Circle. I am the downtown director for the city, and there are a lot of things in local government that I have done that I feel have helped me in the school board seat, balancing budget for several different departments, and making decisions that aren't always going to be the decisions that people want to hear, but what are the best decisions that I can sleep with at night. So I'm running to retain my seat, and I would appreciate the vote on November 7th. Thank you.
Thank you. District 4, Ms. Bonnell.
Hey, everybody. My name is Maggie Bonnell. I was appointed to the District 4 school board seat in August, so while it says I'm incumbent, I'm really new to this. I'm a lifelong resident of the city. I graduated Social Circle High School in 2006. My husband Brant and I have been married for 6 years. We share a son, Julian, who is 2, and he's going to go to the elementary school. We're going through the terrible twos right now, so y'all pray for me. I have 2 stepdaughters. They primarily live with their mother in Indiana. Brant's worked hard on his ex-wife to get her to move down here because Social Circle's so great. So Kinsley and Kirsten are my stepdaughters. Kinsley's in 7th grade and Kirsten's in 5th. So we got preteens, so I need prayers for that too. I'm employed by Colony Bank. I work remote from home. I've been there for 4 years. I'm the closing manager and a vice president of the Small Business Specialty Lending Division. So we do small business loans, USDA loans. I'm familiar with business acquisitions, ground-up construction, leasehold improvements, debt refinance, all that. So I'm very familiar with what it takes to start a business and keep it going. So I'm really honored to have been chosen and appointed to have the school board seat. But to be honest with you, I think no matter what choice is made today, I think you're going to be in good hands, whether it be me or John Garner. So I'm going to hand it off to him.
Mr. Gardner.
I think I echo everybody's thanks for the chamber putting this together for us, and we appreciate it, allowing us to speak to everybody and answering your questions. As Maggie said, my name's John Gardner. I have lived here for 23 years, I think. My wife and I got married 22 years ago this year, and we moved down here. I grew up not in a small town. I grew up in Lithonia and around Stone Mountain. And if anybody knows that area or from that area, 25, 28 years ago, it wasn't the best place to grow up. It was, excuse me. As I said, I've been here for 22 years, and we raised 2 beautiful kids. And this is the reason I wanted out of there. I graduated in 1994. I went to Mechanical Trades Institute, and I got a plumbing license in 1999. 2001, I became a master plumber, and I went to work for the largest plumbing company in the Southeast. And I've been fortunate enough, y'all have to excuse me, I've been fortunate enough to work on some of the biggest projects in the state. And it's nice in that hustle and bustle to come home to a place like Social Circle. It's quiet. It's not wild and crazy. There's not 5,000 people every 2 steps you go like there is in the city. And that's what's great about it. And when I think back to the schools I grew up in, and I look at Social Circle, and I look at the school system here, I don't want it to be like that. That's the reason I'm here. I look out and I see all the change that's trying to come. And if you've ever been through Snellville, you ever been through Norcross, Doraville, Lithonia, any of those places, we got to be real careful not to let this place become that. That's why I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you. Question 1, what school or district activities have you been involved in? Mr. Baird.
We're relatively new to the community, so, I haven't had the tenure that everybody else that's had here. But as far as school activities, the sports is a big key factor here. My son plays football and baseball, and he's played so for over 4 years now, it seems like, between middle school and the high school. We have some of the best facilities around, better than what I had growing up. And so, being there as a parent is key. Everybody can look at parental involvement is the biggest thing and the biggest factor on the success. So those are just some of the few things that I've.
Ms. Morris.
I have served on the Social Circle Primary and the Social Circle Elementary School Council. I have served on the strategic planning. I believe it took place in 2019. I have served making copies, doing snack time when they do the snack carts. I've served in delivering drinks to teachers, star parties when they have their PBIS parties. I've served Thankful for Families lunches, grandparents lunches. I've served in concession stand. I've fed teams. I've served lunch to the staff and faculty. I think last year we did snack pantry for the middle and high school. So we've served at, my husband and I say we have both served at every school in pretty much every capacity since we've had children in the district.
Thank you. Ms. Brewer.
I'm a single mom, so I work full-time to take care of the kids, but I do volunteer for everything that I am able to, and I always make sure that I contribute what I can. I have volunteered and been a part of the wrestling booster club for the past 7 years. As Taylor said, I've been up past midnight making food for wrestlers, for coaches. I've made snacks for kids. I've been to field days, field trips, anything that I can help out with. I am always there to lend a hand.
Thank you. Ms. McKibben.
Thank you. I am currently on the Student Success Alliance site team for the middle school, high school. I have served in the concession stand for sweet friends who have had boys playing football and need to be focused on their kids. My daughter her first year of school was last year in kindergarten, so I think every class party, field day, lunches, gifts for the teachers, for PTO week, all of those things, and I'm very blessed and fortunate that I've been able to be involved in all of those things.
Thank you. Ms. Bodnell.
Well, while I don't have any kids currently in school, I have several nieces, a nephew, and 2 cousins that are involved in several of the sports activities. My husband and I try to go to just about everything that they have, so we're at most of the soccer games, baseball, basketball, so we like to participate in that. And then one thing that I'm really excited about every year is they have an alumni tailgate that we participate in. So the class of 2006, I think we were runners-up last year, and we're coming back for the win this year. So really anything that involves the school, I work full-time like Beth too, so I don't have a lot of time outside of that, but anything that, we have the opportunity to attend and support the school, we're really proud to do, and I'm really looking forward to Julian growing up and being a Redskin, so I'm sure I got a future of staying up late baking stuff.
Mr. Gardner.
I haven't really done a whole lot of, I would say, quote, volunteering, but my daughter played softball for the high school for a few years, and we did a lot of fundraisers, We did a lot of concession stand working and cleaning and cooking to keep everybody fed and that sort of thing. Did a lot of traveling. The few years she was there, we were able to go to Columbus, and that was a good time. Earlier this year, I was able to get involved with the Development Authority here in town. That's kind of a new thing to me. So we haven't had a whole lot going on with that yet, but I'm sure it'll pick up at some point. So that's something new that I'm looking forward to being involved with, along with everything else that's going on.
Thank you. Question 2, what are the top 3 needs that must be priorities for our school district to address and why? Ms. Morris.
I would say the top need is currently being addressed. Well, there's plans to address it. The new school is the biggest need. I think shortly thereafter, we will definitely need a middle school as well. I think that was why the site was so attractive to the previous board. We will need a middle school as well. We're growing, like Beth said, we're outgrowing our facilities, and so we're definitely going to have to look at facility needs long term. So I would say that the top 2 needs would be an elementary school and a middle school. And then I think a constant priority we need to address is where are students and what are their needs. I don't think that should ever stop being a priority. As needs change, we have a very diverse population of students, economically, background. So I think that the third thing we always need to be addressing is, are we meeting the students' needs? And if we're not, we need to, shift and pivot and figure that out.
Thank you. Mr. Baird.
Looking at everything lately, part of the reason I decided to run was because of the priorities. The students are our number one priority at the end of the day. Yes, we do need a new elementary school. That is key. Facilities, state-of-the-art education, you name it. As far as, looking ahead already at a middle school, I'm more of the type of let's get the elementary school built first and let's figure it out from there. But I'm also looking at the need of, I had a quick conversation with somebody and they said, y'all have something special there. We grew too big and now we can't have the schools there. We have something special that most kids can go to school together in the area and even walk there. So some folks are kind of wondering, why are we wanting to get away from our small town setup that we have? But the main third thing too is informing the students, the parents, the families, the taxpayers. That's the third top priority.
Thank you. Ms. McKibben.
To me, the number one would be to continue to meet the needs of the students. The students are why anyone in education does what they do. That would be the top priority to me. Second would be, I agree with Ms. Morris, getting our elementary school built, and we will have to focus on a middle school in the next few years because we do have overcrowding. That is something that we have not been shy about speaking out about. And then last would be just to continue to stick with our strategic plan that we have in place.
Thank you. Ms. Brewer.
I think the number one priority, as everyone else has said, is the students' education and their safety and their comfort. So the school, number 2, the facilities, they need to have more room, so we need to build the new schools so that they can have the room to be more comfortable and not have all of, like I know my daughter's classes, they are full. There are a lot of students in the class, so the teacher to student ratio. And then just to continue to keep as much as we can guard the small town community school. I like that my daughter is in the middle school and she can't get away with anything because her brothers have gone through before her, and I'll get an email or a text that she's stepping out, and they always watch out for the kids.
Thank you. Mr. Gardner.
I think one of the most important things that we need to focus on, but we need to be very careful with it, is the expansion of our system. As it was stated previously, our school is getting more and more to capacity in different grades, maybe not all of them, but they are filling up quickly. And the housing market, it's kind of slowed a little, but it's been booming for a little while. And those people are moving, and they're seeing what we have here, and they like it. But at the same time, it is going to put a burden on our school if we don't expand it. And with that expansion comes finances. One of the other three is the financing part, the economics of it. We've done a really good job about protecting our money in our system, and we need to continue to do that. And the third one is just making sure our kids have a safe place to go to school anytime.
Thank you, Ms. Bonnell.
Well, for me, the number one priority is always the children, and I think that the school board's strategic plan that they've had in place is going to hit all those spaces. I mean, there's topics in there about student achievement and readiness for their life and things like that, which speaks a lot to me and my family. So the second thing is going to be like the budget and making sure that the school is fiscally responsible, which I think the school's already done a great job of making sure that's happening, because Nicole Cross and her team have done a great job on that. And that was one of the things I was really impressed with when I was going through some of my school board training those first few weeks is the great job that the school board has really done to get us to where we are. And then the last thing for me is this new school. I mean, right now, between the middle school and high school in that one building, you've got over 1,000 students. And in the elementary school right now, you've got about 420, 425. So it's really important that we're taking a look at what we're going to have long-term middle school included in that.
Thank you. Next question. What do you believe are the most important characteristics of an effective school board and of an effective board member? Ms. Brewer.
Well, I think that the most important characteristic would be that we listen, and we listen to the people that we represent, and we coordinate with the other board members to be able to make realistic decisions that are effective for all of the students and the teachers to be able to teach the curriculum that's provided for them.
Ms. McKibben.
Thank you. I believe the most important characteristics of an effective school board are the ability to be able to work well together, to make the decisions that need to be made that will benefit the system as a whole. Of an effective board member, you have to have the ability to stand up for what is right and to make decisions based on what's good for the system as a whole. Not have any personal objectives that you are trying to work out in any decision that you make.
Ms. Bonnell.
What I believe are the most important characteristics of an effective school board. I really think it's kind of going to mirror what some other people have said. I mean, I think you got to work well with others, and being on the board is a collective effort. You've got to understand and be able to put yourself in somebody else's shoes and understand their train of thought and why they have that opinion, and not really just being on the board. It's going to be people in your district and the staff and the administration across the board. Everybody that you're going to work with, you've got to be able to relate to them and be somebody that people in your area can talk to, and they're not afraid to come to you if they disagree with you. I really think that every decision that I make is based off of facts and documentation, and while there is that emotional aspect of things, you've got to make sure that you're making a decision that's the best thing for not just you and your family or the people that are necessarily in your district, but for the whole school as a whole. So I think you've got to be somebody who can really put yourself in somebody else's shoes and not think about yourself, think about other people.
Mr. Gardner.
Maggie said everything I wanted to say. No, a lot of that is very true, what she brings up. Communication is a huge thing. Being able to work with all the other members of the board, being able to make hard decisions, even though they might not be exactly what you would do if you were on your own in that decision, because you're looking around at all these other people and you've got to make sure they're in the right place and in a good place. And sometimes that's the decision you have to make. And another characteristic, I think, is just people who get things done. They don't drag things out. They don't mess around. You look at the facts. You look at the information. You run the data, and then you make a decision, and you move on that decision, and you're confident, and you get things done.
Mr. Baird.
I agree with what John said. You know, an effective school system and board, you know, it's not ours. It's our kids. We're just the current custodians of it. And our job is to make sure that we're taking care of it and making decisions not just for today and tomorrow, but for 50 years down the road. Looking what's going to be for them and the next generation and the next generation after that, not just what's right in front of us. You know, they all say it takes a village. Well, you know, this is our village for our kids, and we need to be making the decisions that have the best interest for our kids. And that also comes by communicating, because everybody knows taxes are high, no matter where you go in the country. A big portion of that is your schools. And so we need to make sure that we're communicating not only what we're doing, but fully communicating everything that we're doing and why we're doing it, not just giving us a little snippet of it, but telling why you're doing it. People would rather go on an airline, and yeah, I'm flying on Delta, but I want to make sure that I know that I'm paying for that baggage fee too when I get to the terminal.
Ms. Morris.
I believe the most important thing that makes a school board effective is listening. Everybody is going to have differing opinions. When we're seeing unanimous votes all the time and no discussion, then we're not doing anything progressive. We're doing the same things we've continued to do. So I think that there's a lot of fruit that comes from constructive, conflict's not the right word, but differing of opinions. Allow people the time to be able to be heard and to say what they need to say. And I think the most effective thing for a board member is to understand their role. We're not superintendents, we're not teachers, we're not anything other than to help set strategic plans and goals to help the system continue to achieve. And I think a big thing that Social Circle really lacks is we lack participation in the board meetings. I think those were great points. Very rarely less than 5 people at board meetings unless their children are being recognized. If you want information, you need to go to the source, because Facebook is not going to fill it in accurately.
Thank you. Next question. There's some controversy around the trade of land between the City of Social Circle and the Social Circle School Board. Do you support this decision, and why or why not? Ms. McKibben.
Thank you. I do support the decision. There has been a need for a new school for our students for quite a long time. And there has been a lot of back and forth over the last 2 years on where the new school should go. And the decision that was made by the board for the trade of land between the city and the school board was, I feel, the best decision, because there were several factors that go into it. And the most important for me was looking at how much land that we would have there at the site that was chosen, and knowing that in the next few years, when we need to build a middle school, we will have that property to build the middle school on. And the location has been somewhat of a controversy, but my daughter is in the 1st grade, and I've told everyone that asks, I wouldn't choose to send my child to a school somewhere that I didn't feel was safe, much less everyone else's children.
Ms. Brewer.
I do support the decision for the site that they chose, because We have to trust that the people that we voted for have our best interests at heart. I'm not sure that it would necessarily be the decision I would have made. I think that the location has drawbacks because of the traffic that's on the bypass. If they're able to, if I am elected to the school board, the main issue that I would have is to see if they couldn't put another entrance exit that's not coming off of the bypass, because I feel that that's a danger to the students, the buses, because of the traffic and how fast they're going. And even with the signage, people still speed.
Mr. Gardner.
This has definitely been a hot topic. I've had a lot of conversation about it. I am in support of the school being built on the land out on the Parkway for a couple of reasons. I think from a traffic standpoint, it will relieve some traffic from the west side of the town. In regard to speeds and that sort of thing, the one thing a school will do on any road is it will slow it down because there's a school zone. And although it has happened and people have gone flying through school zones, it's the one place you don't want to deal with law enforcement if you ever get caught speeding through one, let alone having a wreck in one. So I think in that respect, it will actually help control the traffic a little bit. Secondary, and real fast, all that land around there that I'm aware of is agriculture zoned. And I think it will keep a lot of that land from going industrial and not turning into a trailer park, not a trailer park, I'm sorry, industrial park, my apologies.
Ms. Bonnell.
Well, this question is really what got me here. When my son was born in 2021, and so while I have nieces and nephews and cousins in the school system, and I graduated a long time ago, new school hasn't really been on the forefront of my mind. So Julian being 2, and he's going to be starting in this new elementary school, I had a lot of questions. So I started digging around and doing my own research, and I do support this decision. I think that, the city and the school board are much like my relationship with the city now. I mean, most of you may not know this, but Councilman Steve Shelton's my father. And so while I love and respect him, we don't always see eye to eye on things. We disagree on things a lot. I probably have married a man he did not want me to marry, but he loves him now, so it all worked out. So I look at the school and the school board the same way. I mean, the city and the school board have to work together, and I think that the decision was a good decision that was made, and it's also a place that I support my child to go to school at. I mean, like John said, it's going to slow it way down, so I think it's the best choice for the school to go the route that they did.
Ms. Morris.
So I don't know how many of you know this. I worked as a consultant for the school board for roughly a year and a half before a site selection was finalized. And I can say without a shadow of a doubt that the school board scoured every piece of property in the city limits that would meet the, and I think I'm using the right word, Nicole will let me know later if I didn't, the bonding requirements in order to get state funding for a school. We looked at every piece. We looked on Q Public. We looked as big as we could look. 50 acres would accommodate 2 schools. And you'd be amazed how small that is in a town that's going through a land grab like we're going through. The school doesn't have unlimited resources. They didn't have tens of millions of dollars to spend on a site. And it would have been detrimental to buy one site, expand all of our resources, and not have space to continue to grow. I support the decision the board's made, and I think that it's not, if we build schools, we need new schools. The kids need them, the staff need them. I've talked to a teacher at the elementary school last week. She will retire before we get a new school, and they told her at her orientation 29 years ago that we would be building a school. It's past time.
Mr. Baird.
Through what's happened lately, part of the reason why I decided to run is because the decision was pretty much made. I've been in trucking for 18 years. I know how tractor trailers, how fast they go, how hard it is to stop them. To me, I wouldn't put a school out there, personally. You've got Rivian coming in, a bunch of industry coming in. It is growing. But back to what I said earlier, too. We have something special here. All of our schools are within walking distance of each other. Well, by going this route, we're not going to have that anymore. We're going to end up like Monroe. They got too big. Now they had to put the schools all over the place. You're creating more logistics, more cost. You know, right now, all the schools are within earshot of the downtown fire department and the police station. Now we're going to be putting the elementary school way out further and increasing response times, which is going to create more resources. We're going to, obviously, safety is number one. You're going to have more to support that. So that's why I feel like most school systems that you see around do have them close together for logistics reasons and cost reasons, not starting to spread them out across town.
With the Social Circle School Board being a city school system, how would you describe what the relationship should be between the city council and the school board? Ms. Bonnell.
Well, I think I hit that a little bit with my last answer. But, I mean, it is important to me that the city and the school work well together. I mean, the school system is an extension of the city. And while they probably they know way more of the history of the school system than I do. I mean, there's a bunch of you in this room who know a lot more about all of the buildings and everything that's gone into it. You know, one of the things that I learned, like through my research, is a lot of the buildings that the school board had possession of were at one point owned by the city, and they were deeded over to the school board. So that to me shows that the city wants the school board to be successful. I mean, if the school board does well, the city does well. And if the city does well, the school does well. So it's a partnership that I think you have to have a good relationship, but I also understand your own entity is your priority. The school board, the school system has to be the priority for anybody on the board. And same with the city, they've got to be conscious of their own thing, so.
Mr. Gardner.
I have to agree with Ms. Bonnell. The two should should act separately. They both have their own separate budgets. They have their own separate boards. I think that's the best place for them, but I also think with that, they need to be able to communicate. They need to be able to have discussions. They need to be able to sit down in the same room and work out some of the logistical issues of the city together and determine which way the school needs to go or which way the city needs to go on things that benefits one or the other. Because they're both here to work for the entire city. The school board isn't here just to look out for themselves, and the city is not here to look out for the city or the people in the office. They're here to look out for everybody, and they can figure out a way to work together and get that done.
Mr. Baird.
There's a reason why they're separate. So yeah, I do agree with what everybody's saying, that, you know, you do have your main priorities. You know, however, though, first and foremost, running for school board chair, my number one priority is the students and the families of those students. Yes, you do have to work together with the city, but everybody knows you can go around to any town in the state, in the country. If you have a good school system, you're going to have good housing values, good community, everything. So putting the school, to me, is going to be priority more than say, yes, you do want to work with the city, but at the end of the day, my obligations to the students and their families.
Ms. Morris.
I think that they need to, let me back up. I think that the school board land situation has created two different sides, and it's time that we mesh them together. At the end of the day, the money is in a pot and it's divided. But if we're being irresponsible in either part, it hurts all of us, the taxpayers, period. Any of us that are voting in these city elections are city taxpayers. What's good for the school system financially is great. What's good for the city financially is great. We need to have strategic planning, so we're not trying to put a school where they're trying to put a landfill. There needs to be a cooperation, but they're separate entities. They need to focus on what they need to focus on. We need to have city council running city council. We need to have school board members running the school board. We need to be complementary. It needs to be cohesive when it needs to be. But at the end of the day, the taxpayers win when the city and the school system can cooperate and get along.
Ms. Brewer?
I agree with what Taylor said. I feel that the school board's main priority is to the students and the faculty. The city council has a responsibility to the school board and all of the residents, so the two have to be able to communicate and work together in the best interests of the whole of the city. A lot of the draw to Social Circle currently is the school system. People want their kids to go to school here because it is a great school. So I feel like they're going to have to work together to continue to make the city what we always want it to be.
Ms. McKibben?
Working for the city and serving on the school board gives me a special insight, I feel, to both sides of this. It's very important that the city and the school system work well together. Taxpayers fund both, and they need to work well together so both are successful. The city has an obligation to the citizens. The school board has an obligation to the students, the staff, and the administration. People are drawn here for our wonderful school system. They're also drawn here because Social Circle is a great place to live. So it's very important that the two work hand in hand together.
Thank you. Last question. What makes you the very best candidate for this position? Mr. Gardner?
Sorry, I'm reading. I couldn't tell you if I'm the best person for this job or not. I've never been an elected official. I've never worked on a school board. Never done anything like it. I've built more things in the city of Atlanta than most people in Atlanta, but I couldn't tell you a whole lot about school boards. But I get up every morning and I go to work to get things done. And I laughed because I thought about this on the way home. The one thing that the school board, in my opinion, does, you keep hearing everybody say, we do this for the kids. I don't really look at it as I do it for the kids. The kids just want a safe place to go to school and learn and come home and have fun. It's the parents that you got to think about when you start making decisions in the school board, because they're the ones financing this. They're the ones who want their kids in a safe place and in a good school system. And they're the ones that I'm talking to, because little Johnny doesn't care if I'm on the board or not.
Ms. Bonnell?
Well, I guess I kind of am like John. I don't really know what makes me the very best candidate for this position. I'm honored to have been appointed to the board in August, and I'm looking forward to the rest of my time on the board. And I'd be honored and grateful if I did win, but if I don't, I think we're also still in really good hands with John. I think that, I've got a lot of experience in ground-up construction, so I'm really looking forward to my time, and I'm hoping that we can, the ground breaking on the school starts, and we can start seeing some of that construction going. So I've got extensive knowledge in ground-up construction of real estate and development of that, and I've got a lot of experience with budgeting and the financials that go into and how that makes that work, and change orders and everything that happens with construction. So that's one of the things that I do feel like I'm strong in. I've been in SBA lending for 12 years, so I know what makes businesses fail and what helps them succeed. So I hope that experience would help me out here.
Ms. Morris?
What compels me to be a candidate for this position and to continue to serve is my love for the schools. I love the schools. I love the kids, all of them. Every single one of them, they're all important. We have the best staff, and I know them. And I'll tell you, one of my concerns for accepting the appointment was that I kind of have an open door policy with some of the teachers and the administration at the schools. I didn't want that to change. I didn't want me to walk in and them to be afraid to see me or to slip up and see something different. I've served those teachers. I've fed them lunch. I've brought them coffees. I've served the kids. I've had lunch with them. I've taken them to the book fair. I have watch these kids grow up from the time they were little. I've delivered fish lunches to them in the summer. These kids and these staff and the administration and the board office are why I was compelled to take it. Am I the best candidate? We'll see. We'll see November 7th. But that's why I was compelled to run, because I have nothing but love and admiration for our system.
Mr. Baird.
At the end of the day, I'm just a dad. I'm not a politician. I'm a concerned parent. We moved here because of the school system. I took a personal choice a few years ago to step back because I was so wrapped up in my job, being a manager, overseeing employees, going through sales plans, going through strategic sales, and as far as operations for truck leasing in Swanee. I was missing out on a bunch. I made a choice to step back out of that and be more involved in my kids' lives, along with my wife, to make sure that we're providing the best that we can for them. That's why I'm doing this. I have a choice. I have a chance to step back, be involved. I'm at a position now where I can be involved more. And I feel like at the end of the day, anybody can pick their criteria on why you're the best candidate for not everybody sees the same, but at the end of the day, I'm just a dad, and if I can relate with you and you feel the same way, I ask for your vote on November 7th.
Ms. McKibben.
I don't like the choice of words for best candidate, because at the end of the day, we're all up here for the same reason. So for me, it's my love for the school system and the want to see our system continue to grow and thrive and to be successful, and for families to want to move to Social Circle and to want for their children to attend school here. Being a parent, listening to other parents, listening to the staff, the administration, knowing what they all feel is best for our students and giving them the tools that they need to do their jobs.
Thank you. Now I'll have closing remarks. Each of you will have 2 minutes. We'll start with District 4, Mr. Gardner.
There it goes. Okay. Sorry about that. As I was saying in that last question, I can't sit up here and tell you I'm the best candidate for this because I've never done it before. I love my kids. I love your kids. I love the school system. I want it to stay in its simplest form that it can. I don't want to see it go crazy and turn into where I came from. I don't want it to turn into Gwinnett County schools. I don't want it to turn into DeKalb County schools. We've got a great thing here, and we need to protect it. And that's what I aim to do. I said it a minute ago. My kids and your kids don't care who's sitting on this board. They want a safe place to go to school. They want to have fun. They want to learn. They want to come home, show you all the crafts they did, and they want you to be happy about it. You're the ones who need to be happy with where you're sending your kids. You need to know that they're in a safe place. You need to know that your money is being spent well and that it's being appropriated in the right places at the appropriate time. And I think Ms. Cross and her group has done a wonderful job over the last 20 years or however long they've been doing this. And they've taken very good care of our money, and they've put it in the right places. And that's how our school system has gotten to where it is. And I don't want to see that change. I want to see it continue to be one of the best school systems around. And for that reason, I'm running for District 4 seat.
Ms. Brewer, I apologize. I missed you on the last question, and I'll give you an extra minute when it comes to your time to make your closing remark. Ms. Bonnell.
Well, I think like I said earlier, I mean, I'm a lifelong resident here. I went through the school system. I mean, there's people that I was in pre-K with that I graduated with, and that's what I want for my children. And I understand the importance of being fiscally responsible, and I understand the importance of handling the construction of this new school. I think that the school board and the teachers and the administrator and the superintendent, they've done a great job getting us to where we are. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud to know that my child's going to go to Social Circle and be a Redskin and have all these wonderful people that are going to teach him and guide him through his life and work with me and Brant and his family to show him to be a great functioning adult, hopefully. But, I mean, I think great things have been done to get us here, and I'm really looking forward to how things turn out with the elementary school. And I touched on this a second earlier, but I mean, the schools are crowded, and we've got some intergovernmental agreements with Walton County and Newton County that I think, need to be taken a look at and adjusted accordingly. I don't think that all those kids need to be turned away. I think there's great processes in place that keep an eye on the kids that are out of district that are coming in here. I know that's been a concern that some people have talked about, but I think the school system has done a great job of managing that so far. I'm really grateful for the opportunity that I've been given so far, and I'm looking forward to the rest of my time on the board, and I hope that I'll have your vote to serve a full term. Thank you.
Ms. McKibben.
I'm probably going to mirror a lot of what Maggie just said. Growing up here and being a lifelong resident in Social Circle and attending school here, there are so many changes that have gone on in the city and in the school system. And I'm very proud of not only the current board, but all of the boards that have served before that have made the decisions and done the things that have gotten us to where we are today. Social Circle is a very unique place. It's a wonderful place to live. Families are drawn here for our school system, and I just want to have the ability to continue to serve the students and the staff and the administration, like I said before in the last question, to give them the tools that they need for our school system to continue to be successful.
Thank you. Ms. Brewer, again, I apologize, and we'll start with your 1-minute answer to question 6, which was, what makes you the very best candidate for this position?
Well, I will summarize that answer with the summary that I have prepared. I feel like I am a good candidate because I have been involved in the city school here. I didn't go to school here. I didn't graduate from here. I went to school in Monroe. But coming from Walton County schools into Social Circle, that is one of the things that drew me here. We moved here 28 years ago because I wanted a community for my son, only had one child at the time, to grow up and be able to go to school like these ladies have said. They went to school. He's best friends with a kid he played baseball with when he was 4 years old, and I'm really proud of that fact. So I feel like I want to preserve that for the next people, the next generation of students that are coming in. Okay. So like I said, I've been involved in the schools since Ray started pre-K in 2000. He graduated in 2014. James graduated this past May. Carly's in 8th grade at the middle school, and she'll graduate in 2028. Over the years that they've been in school, I've been a class mom, field trip chaperone. I've donated time, money, a piece of my heart to every classroom or team that they've been a part of. I do my best to support everything that goes on at the school in any way I can. For the past 7 years, a lot of my life has been spent in a gym, either here or somewhere, with the wrestling team. If any of you know wrestling, it's not 3 months out of the year, it's 12 months. So I've volunteered, fundraised, traveled, did everything I could to support that, and that mentality has infiltrated into my family, we've drank the Kool-Aid, as I say. The Redskins are a family. The motto of the wrestling team is buy in or get out. I bought in. I appreciate every vote, and I pray that I have the honor to serve you and your children. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Morris?
I think in closing, the big thing I want everyone to know is that winning the election or not isn't going to change the way that my family and I show up for the schools. I do it without a title. I do it happily, and I'll continue to do it. I don't think that you can serve something you don't understand. And so I think boots on the ground in the schools, volunteering, understanding, making those relationships creates an atmosphere and an ability to serve things in a different way. You would never hire someone as a CEO off the street that never worked in the business. It just wouldn't work. And I think that's what I bring to the table. I'm not a perfect candidate. I'm not super polished. I'm not a politician. I'm going to shove my foot in my mouth. I did it at the last board meeting. I forgot to ask for a motion for Nicole's budget. Everyone sat there and looked at me for about 5 minutes. I'm not a perfect candidate, but I love the schools and I love these kids. And we have a very diverse group of kids that need advocacy. They don't get it at home, and that's the reality of it. I had a conversation with someone today about how important male administration is in our school, because there are some students where that is their father figure. It's their coaches, it's their administrators at school. We need to understand who we're educating so we can understand how we're educating and equipping them for life. That's not a 2-year plan, that's a lifelong plan that we'll have to continue to change and mold. There was a comment about the school location that I did want to address. Morgan County Middle High School is built on a bypass. I've spoken with their principal. They use that for bus and all of their car line traffic. My sons play sports. We travel all over the state. Most new schools are being built on bypasses or some kind of roadway like that because of traffic influx. We have a traffic problem in town. But more than that, we have a facility issue for our kids. And I hope I can continue to serve to see the kids in this school that they really deserve, and the staff as well. I ask for your vote on November 7th. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Baird?
The reason I've been harping on it is, it's not just looking at crafts at a certain age. I've got a seventh grader and a ninth grader. Rebecca is a star academic student in middle school. My son, he requires more. We saw that social circle did everything different. That's what sets us apart. When everybody was shutting down during COVID, we had a school system that was in the classroom when a lot of them weren't in the classroom. They made different choices and did different procedures to make sure that the kids had their community, because we're all in the community together. It's our responsibility for the families, the taxpayers, the students, no matter what age they're in, whether they're in the elementary, middle school, or in high school, they're a part of the process. I wish to see that, the PTA and the PTO are involved at the school board meetings. I wish that we would know more about the school board meetings. I feel like we don't see that enough. We have enough opportunities. Not everybody's on Facebook, there's different avenues. I'm looking for more involvement in the community, more involvement from everybody, period. That's why I'm doing this. It's a part of life. Schools create success, it shapes your communities. And I feel that, I don't have the experience. I'm not the experienced one. I'll tell you that right now. I'm just a dad. But that doesn't mean that I won't have the tools or the guidance from the rest of the board to work with them to do what's necessary for the students, for the school system.
Thank you. Thank you to the candidates, and thank you all for attending the political candidate forum. Remember to vote on November 7th, or early voting starts October 16th.